Okay, so I'll tell you what's going to happen because first of all, I'm just going to go over some presentation and all that, but I want to tell you why I actually asked these people to come here. Because what I'm going to talk about is not my expertise, although I've spent a lot of time during the past 14 years studying it, but it's not my expertise. And there is a disease, I call it suggestionitis. And that's when we suggest things that we're not expert at. And believe me, in our community, in my, my fellow countrymen, we're expert in this. All I have to tell you is that I have a headache. And I will get 75 different suggestions because there is 75 Iranians here. And it goes all the way from using kharkhasak aftande, which is a plant that is growing in northern part of South China, and all the way to use acetaminophen, codeine, and stuff like that. And everybody's just so adamant on it. In between all these people, there is only one person who spent more than half an hour in med school, and his name is Puya. Right? So he is the only one who could actually give you advice because he is like a medicine doctor. But Yasser-Jan, can you please come and take a seat? So these are my expert panel, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to just conduct a question and answer session with them. Fortunately, unfortunately for us, fortunately for Pavel, he's going to leave early. But the other two, we're going to work with them. The reason that I asked them is that these are the people that I trust. There is 6,000 immigration consultants in North Vancouver that I do not trust 5,999 of them. All right? So I think I established my case, and you will see during my presentation I have some not very nice words about them. So let me just introduce my expert panel, which I'm going to refer to them. This is like our one and only beautiful Flavia. So just please. She is the not very seen hero here. She does a lot of immigration work for our students here and for people to get the visa here. We have to congratulate her because she recently graduated and she's going to have her license very, very, very soon. So congratulations. Then right beside her we have Mr. Pavel Turban. I met Pavel about 7 or 8 years ago, and I see him going through all the steps. He's the most honest immigration consultant that I know. He's one of the most, right? He's one of the most honest immigration consultants that I know, and the suggestions that I'm getting from him. And at times I have to go to him when I have a question. So please welcome Pavel as well. And then the next person is a person that I love like my brother. He is a person that I know him for over 20 years. He practices judo, so you know why I love him so much. And he's really an honest, caring person, and he's in the immigration business as well. Him and his uncle have an immigration firm just like Pavel does. So I thought in order to get other opinion, I will ask him to come in as well. So these are our expert panel when it comes to immigration. So I'm just going to show you with facts, and then I'm going to ask them and ask questions. If you have any specific question, please hold it until the session is over, and then you can talk, you can ask them, or you can ask me, or whoever that has an answer. Just please do not disturb the flow of the presentation. We're spending a lot of time, and I'm spending a lot of money for you guys to get a job at Co-op, which is related. It's a very, very important thing for your future. You may not know it, but I do know it because I've been doing it for 20 some odd years. Almost all of you are enrolled in a co-op related program. I don't know why. I don't know if you know why you chose a co-op program to enroll in. I know why I created them, but I don't know why you guys, do you guys know whether or not why you're enrolling into such program? In very many occasions, in friendly or very unfriendly manner, we actually brought this to your attention, that co-op is an important thing. We want you to show up at different occasions because we want your co-op to go well. There is nothing in this world that satisfies me more than seeing each and every one of you get a co-op job and eventually get a PR. Okay? because I know a lot of you are here. There is a fraction of you that you don't need Canadian PR for whatever reason. Either you're a PR already, or you're like Wade from a country that immigration to Canada is not easy. Maybe it's not even something that he wants. I don't know. But there is a lot of us in this room, not including me, who actually are here because they want to have a PR as a byproduct of studying, okay? So the co-op is definitely important. That's why for one person, I just put a lot of time and effort, and Jean-Marc is helping me. Now Dale is added on that. The student services, all of this stuff is streamlined. So the puzzle comes to a place. So what is a co-op? The co-op has a specific terminology. In BC, it might be different than anywhere else in Canada. Co-op is a work placement education component. What that means is that you're going to go somewhere, you're going to work and learn the trade while you're at it. Okay? And it's an integral part of your study. That means you are not graduating if you do not finish this co-op. So your diploma is finished when you're actually doing the 1 year, or however many hours that your program has with the co-op. Okay, so it's different than internship. It's different than other. There is like 28 different terms for work placement integrated studies. In BC, we're only doing 4 of them, and co-op is just 1. It is different than internship. Internship is usually shorter. It is led by school. It is inside the school, and you don't get paid for it. It's like when you do the dental hygienist, whatever, and you're gonna do like a few hours of internship, and that is completely different than the co-op. So co-op is supposed to be a longer term paid work placement. So definitely you're getting quite a bit of benefits of co-op. You can work more than 20 hours for one thing. I will actually tell you, I calculated the dollar value that is attached to it, so you can earn more money. You can have a direct Canadian work experience. Just in parentheses, when I moved in here 24 years ago, it was strange for me to hear it from people that you're so good, but you don't have a Canadian experience, we don't give you a job. That was so annoying. And in my line of job, I was a programmer. I was a computer programmer. And I'm like, okay, everywhere in the world, Pascal is Pascal. I'm just saying if and else and all these kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. 20 years later, I just went through the most horrific experience of my life. Just because I hired somebody who did not have Canadian experience. All right. So now I understand why people are hesitant to basically hire people that they do not have Canadian work experience. So this acquiring the Canadian work experience is probably the most beneficial thing that you can get from co-op. While this may be very, very valuable, there is another element in co-op that is extremely useful for you. For those people who want to immigrate to Canada and stay here, that opens a new path for you, which may or may not be basically tailored for you. But it's a way, and it opens up. So I say, for some individuals, there is multiple different ways of immigration. As a matter of fact, during the past few years that I've been studying this, to me, there is hundreds of different ways of immigration. There is hundreds, and I will prove it to you. But for some people, it's first of all, it is as personal as your fingerprint. Like, she is different than she, and she is different than he, and he is different than she. For every single person, it is different. That's why there is the reason that these guys are existent. All right? That's number one. Number two, for some individuals, this might be the only shot that you have. For some people, based on your age, experience, like things that you have during your life, this might be the only shot that you could have at staying here. So today, we are going to educate you about all these different methods that you can actually use to stay in Canada and obtain PR. And obviously, we're going to focus on 2 specific methods that you can get with studying in Canada, and then as a byproduct of that, get PR. So these are the concerns that I hear at least 20 plus times every day. So like day in, day out, I'm like, oh my God, what should I do after I finish my study part? What's involved with co-op? How does this work? Who's going to help me? Is it your responsibility to get a co-op for me? Is it my responsibility? Should I be tall? Should I be 3 meters? Should I be 1 meter? What's happening there, right? So these are the concerns that you're having. What's going to happen at co-op? What am I going to do after graduation? This is like, you know, going to Canada has the stages, and I have done all these stages 24 years ago when I wanted to come here. At first it's like, oh God, let them give me visa. That's the only thing. You dream about getting the visa. The moment that visa comes in, it's like, oh God, I ate shit. Right? So what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then the moment that you arrive here is that, oh damn, I made a wrong decision. It's just bad. And then there is always he and she and David and Joe and Shala and Maheen that they're telling you different things, that they pull you all in different ways. And that makes you even more agitated. So really, is there a way to stay in Canada and get a PR? The answer is yes, but it has to do with your situation. So I hear this tons of times. People come to me and they're like, oh my God, what do you think I have to do after I graduate? Should I go home? But they tell me if I go to BCIT or UBC or SFU or whatever, then I don't have to go home. I reveal one fact, and these are the panels. So I'm just going to verify this with our very own Flavia. When you have a temporary permit, whether it is it's called a TRV, the temporary resident visa, right? Whether it is a tourist status or a work permit or a study permit, there is always a date attached to it. There's a date. What should you do if you do not change your status by that date?
Pretty much I would say that pretty much before graduating, you should know what to do. So I talk to many of you, and usually you ask me, oh, I'm about to graduate, what should I do? I say that before graduating, 3 months before at least, you should contact us and we will provide you options. Usually, if you don't apply for extension, you should go home, but we have options. So you can apply for work permit, you can apply for the study permit extension, you can apply for BC PNP, you can apply for PR through express entry. So we have many options actually. You don't need to leave home.
Sure, but the fact that I'm going to bring to everybody is that if you don't do anything about it and that time arrives, you have only one choice: run to the airport. Get a ticket, go back home. That's the only thing that you could do, right? And you see that they're verifying that. So once there is a date attached to your permit, that means you're only allowed to stay here. So before that, you have to think of how you're going to continue on this, right? Before that does not mean when you're coming off the airplane's steps. It's not then. It's like you haven't even seen the city. You're like somewhere in Richmond and you see welcome to Vancouver and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do 2 years from now? That is not the time. 3 to 6 months before your graduation time, you should start thinking about options. And again, that is why there are these people existing here. Okay? So, unless you have changed your status, you guys need to leave the country. So, let's see what's going to happen to us then. Oh my God, what am I going to do? This is what I see every single day in your faces. It's like the clock is ticking and you go from this to this. It's just like, what's going to happen to me? It bothers you from the day that you set foot on this country's soil. What am I going to do 2 years from now? Somehow that tunnel that you're getting off the plane, it just starts incentivize this. It's just like you're walking and you're just going to the immigration officer and you're like, what am I going to do in 2 years? What am I going to do in 2 years? You don't even have the study permit in your hand and you're thinking about this. Is there a same prescription for everyone? The answer is no. I am fat, somebody's tall, the other person's beautiful, the other person's is what. There is different prescription for different things, different remedies. So, one thing about Canada is that the immigration system is a point-based system. It's not random. There is like always a point attached to something. And this point has rationale attached to it. We'll get there. Like for the Federal Express entry, there is just some sort of qualification that you have to make. But why do you think even these people exist and they can make money and put dinner at their table for their family? There is only one reason. This Immigration Act has become such a huge monster that only a few people have to study it for a while, right? So definitely Joe, who is Nick's cousin's boyfriend's girlfriend's aunt, whatever, they have no idea about this. If you're just going to a dinner and they're like, hey, you just chose the wrong college. You should have gone to whatever, because you know my cousins, whatever. Those are invalid things. All they do is just they put worries into your head. These guys are the ones that we have to always go to. And you see at times I'm just running into Pavel and I'm like, Pavel, this is the situation. I have this person and this person. And then that's why they are there. Like she has studied for a year at UBC to just learn a part of this immigration thing, because obviously they don't teach you everything at school. It's only a part of it. It's like probably what, like 50% at the maximum. So, but there is a reason that these people are existing. Why do we not have immigration consultants in Iran? Do you have them one in Slovakia? No immigration consultant in Slovakia, right? How about one in Japan? Do you have immigration consultants in Japan? Maybe. Do you know of them? No, he hasn't seen one. So if he hasn't seen one, probably they don't exist. Because there is not that much demand of going, well, maybe Japan, yes, but there are like other countries. I don't see why somebody wants to immigrate to Iran. I don't see that. But that's like, call me crazy. I don't know why people don't immigrate over there. And everybody wants to immigrate out of there. So, I personally think immigration is as personal as your fingerprint. There is no one remedy that is working for all of them. Pavel, I know you for 7 years. You've been working for like it's like 5 years or so that you are actually...
Yeah, so I was about the complexity of the immigration system. I graduated in 2012, and that time I studied only for 6 months to get the license. Flavia right now is studied for 1 year, and starting from 2021, it will be 2-year program. Yeah, for all new consultants, they have to study
with a lot of more demand.
Yes.
Like these guys got it, Pavel got it easy. Flavia is getting it a little hard, but it's going to be next to impossible next year. Anybody who wants to get in there, they want them to have IELTS 9 to begin with, and then a whole bunch of other things. So it actually, and it makes sense. You cannot represent a person that he speaks better English than you do. It's just normal representation module.
Mine is already 9.
Yeah, you have to, otherwise they wouldn't, right? So with what I know, I honestly think and believe in the fact that there is 1,000 different ways of immigration, if not hundreds. But we're just giving it a rest, and I can verify with them. Guys, is it fair to say there are tens of ways for immigration?
Many ways, and there are federal programs, there are provincial, so each province has its own immigration programs. They have own PNP programs, so you can multiply all what you know in at least 2 or 3 times. Yeah. So,
there you go.
There are many.
So now the problem with all those immigration things is that there is a price tag attached to them in every single one of them. So if you're coming to me and believe it, as much as I think it's a stupid question, but I am asked this question very many times every single week. People are calling me and they're like, is there any way that I can come to Canada for free? I don't spend anything, and then I heard that Canada needs people that they are killing mice. So because there is always like this myth about Canada, it looks like we don't have enough people here, and we don't. That's correct, but we don't have enough expertise here. Like mouse killers, there is like 20 of them over there, because they shoot so much drugs that the mice don't even go close to them. Like they look at them and they die. So I'm talking about expert people. We are looking for young, English-speaking, expert, degree-holding individuals. That's what Canada wants. 24 years ago, I was one. At my time, I got it easy. I had a bachelor's degree. I was speaking English well. I had 3 years of experience, and I was young. I was only 25 when I applied. So of course, 6 months later, I was in Canada. It is still the same. The category did not change. It's more competitive system right now because when I applied to come to Canada, even I did not know that there is a city in Canada called Vancouver. I did not know it. And when they told me, oh, there is a city in Vancouver, I'm like, where the hell is that? All I knew was Ottawa because I found it in the crossword puzzle, capital of Canada, Ottawa. I knew Montreal because the Olympics, 1974 was in Montreal. And I knew Toronto because that's Canada. Toronto is Canada. Everybody thinks Toronto is the only place in Canada, right? When I arrived to Vancouver, there was 700,000 people in Greater Vancouver area, less than 1 million in the entire BC. Today, there is 3 million in the Greater Vancouver area, a little bit less than 5 million in the entire BC. So there is many more people that they have arrived during these past 25 years that I was there. So, the only thing that I suggest to you is if you want to have a valid answer to this question, improve your readability. Read, make sure that you understand all this stuff. Everything that you want to know is somewhere on that website. If somebody tells you something, you have to verify it. Where? That's right there. cic.gc.ca, canada.ca. They have all the information, everything that you want. Unfortunately, it's not easy to find. That's why there are these people that they're helping you where it is. And there is terminologies after terminologies and all that. I'll prove it to you. Okay? So, look at this. If I actually go to this website, you will see it lists some of the immigration methods that is existing there. Let's see when it comes up. You will see an ugly website done by Immigration Canada, and it only lists a few things. It says immigrate to Canada. These are the ways. Express entry. You may have some unverified wrong information about this. Family sponsorship, great. I'm going to get married here and I'm going to stay here, right? For those of you who are single. The ones that they're not, no luck. Unless you get divorced first. Provincial Nominee Program, there is like tens of different subcategories here. Quebec Selected Skilled Worker. Quebec, for those of you who are not Canadian and not into politics, Quebec is like another country altogether. Yeah, they wanted to be, we didn't let them, but in general, they're speaking French, and as long as you don't speak French, you're no one in there. So that's what it is. Then we have Caregivers. This is a new program just added last year. It has its own category. The Atlantic Immigration Pilot, it's like for places that hurricane eats you 6 times a week. And there is a startup visa. We hear a lot about this. This is also new. There is self-employed called owner-operators. This one, I was reading about it only like a few days ago. It's called Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot. There's a city in BC called Vernon. It's about 60 kilometers north of Kelowna, and that is qualified for this. It's literally a village, and they want to attract more investment into this. So, these are all the stuff. The shittiest one to begin with is a refugee. I do not recommend it at all, but it's a way as well. So, anyways, these are all the stuff. So, let's see. I'm telling you that there is hundreds of ways to do this, and I'm showing you only 8. What is wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with me. So, look at this. Are these all? The answer is no. Have you ever heard of Intra-Company Transferee? Have you ever heard of this thing? Courtesy of Yasser, he showed it to me about a couple weeks ago, and we were looking at it. It's like if you have a company that has a counterpart in Canada, you can actually get sponsored to come to Canada and work, and then after that you can just get any of the programs and stay here, right? So if I had an ITD Canada in Iran and somebody was working over there in a management position, I could have easily brought them here with a work permit. Superbly easy. All right? So that's one thing that I want you to know. And then, have you heard about owner-operators? I know that like Hamed is back there, he's working toward that. Have you heard that dancers can actually move to Canada? Yeah? So there is, if you're a dancer, an actor, a musician, if you're an elite athlete, we have one actually who's trying to make it like that. It's a long program, but he can do that. Like you have to be an Olympian and have medals in world, or you have to be making money in the past 5 years for at least 2 years, right? Like it's just about that.
Yeah, it's called self-employed.
It's called self-employed, whatever. So, agriculture worker. Now, I would like to tell you this. Like, look at this link. Check this out. I actually copied this. Look how long of a thing is. If you are a film or television producer, you're a co-op student. See, the Immigration Canada says if you are a co-op student, there is a possibility for you to stay in Canada. All right? So, no thanks. And then we're just moving ahead. There is like, if you're a dancer, actor, orchestral, whatever, religious worker with some doing charitable work, like all mullahs can come here. You have applied for permanent residence under express entry. This list goes on and on and on. There is like at least 50 different methods in this page only. So, that again verifies that we need many more of Pavels and Flavias and Yassers and all that, but we need honest ones, really. So, anyways, the point I want to establish here is that, as I said, there is hundreds of different ways. Hundreds of different ways. At BC PNP has about 30 different ways, and it's only for BC. We have 13 provinces and territories. So if any one of them has 20, it's already 260 right there. And every single one of them is different. Okay? But there is, like I said, there is a price tag attached to it, right? Like Yasser is always working with people that they're investing. It can go anywhere from $100,000 for a BC regional pilot all the way to $1 million for a federal investor. Like if you have that kind of money, then you can do it. But our problem is that anybody here who has more than $100,000 in the account right now? Here? No? Yeah? Okay, well, good. At least we have one, so he's going to do that. But I don't, so I wouldn't be able to do it that way, all right? So, the time and the money you have to spend, it dictates the method is the best for you. That's why we need these guys. Honest immigration consultants are the ones that they are consulting with you and provide you with the best way for you, not for them. Right? Because there is a lot of time that they're persuading you to go do something because it makes more money for them, not for you. But anyways, so we think that by default everybody's honest. But unfortunately, there are a very few honest, literate ones. The ones that they actually know this. Like I am dealing with one that does not even know this much about study permits. And they're claiming that they're going to be agents and whatever. So, I'm going to conduct a QA session with these guys to kind of like go ahead and talk about it. So since we're in an educational environment and since I hear a lot about this, I want to compare two different ways that you may be able to obtain PR after studying in Canada. So, again, go back to them. What are these two ways? You study in Canada and then you can obtain permanent residency.
Yeah, okay, so many of you, because I interact with you, have already bachelor degree, some of you have a master, some PhD. So for you, you're probably lacking just a few points to get selected for express entry. And for you, these few points could be just studying in Canada. So for example, doesn't matter about degree granting, no degree granting, just basically completing ITT program will give you this 15 points that you're lacking, right? And for many of you, especially those who are with master degree, it will be enough just to graduate from ITT and pass your IELTS test for something around 7.5 up to 8. And this is absolutely doable for those 2 years you are spending in Canada right now. Yeah.